Hi guys, Alex from Suffer No Falls here. I'm just giving you a quick update as to where we are as we're in 2019 now. We're already in February, which has gone, sort of ridiculously quick. As some of you probably know, the last sort of big thing we did, and I say big very loosely, was our covers EP, Them Aerial Children. We put out 3 songs, Them Bones by Alice in Chains, Aerials by System of a Down, and Children of the Grave by Black Sabbath. Now if you haven't already checked them out, be sure to have a look at them. It's on Spotify, Bandcamp. Spotify is a great place to find pretty much everything we've ever released. So if you just search Suffer No Falls on Spotify, we'll put a link in the description below as well. You can find all of our tracks on there, pretty much everything we've done from day dot. Speaking of which, so that was the last biggest thing we did. Obviously before that we had the seminal EP, Songs for the Restless Youth. That was 2015 I believe now, so we're getting on quite a bit. I think we started recording the current EP that we're still working on about 2016 I believe, where we sort of went to our demo process. We went to a couple of different studios, did a lot of home recording as well. This was back when we had Jack Walsh in our band before Ali became our guitarist, so we are sort of talking way back when. And those recordings, they were sort of initially touted to be the start of our main recordings for that EP/album. They sort of got chucked by the wayside. The recording quality wasn't quite up to par. We hadn't quite finalised the songs at this point, so really it was sort of like a demo procedure more than anything. Now, looking at where we are now, we said last year or the year before, I can't even remember which it was now, that we were hoping to release our current EP by Christmas. Obviously that kind of just didn't happen, and there's really a lot of reasons why that was the case. To be honest, I think we probably could have done it if we had the time. The only thing that's really stopped us is lack of time. So when we started Suffer No Falls, as some of you might know, we all sort of got together as friends. All of us were at uni apart from Ali, who lived fairly close to the uni. That was in the University of West London in South Ealing. That's really where Suffer No Falls kind of started. And when we were there for the sort of 3-4ish years we were there, it was really easy to sort of meet up, get together, do our practices, and again book shows in London. We were playing shows in London all the time. We'd occasionally venture further afield. We played Club 85, a couple of other places outside of that in Hertfordshire. But really that sort of the gigging side of things really died down as well as the recording. And really that's just because we sort of live too far away from each other now. So I'm currently living in Arlesey, near to Stevenage where I lived before. Ali's still living sort of South London-ish, South West London. Jamie's living in Gloucester and Mike's living in Reading, so we've all sort of gone back home now that we're finished with uni. Ali's still at the uni, doing his course, but trying to meet up is that much more difficult because we are sort of separated geographically. Now we have sort of met up a few times to do a couple of one-off gigs here and there, but it's sort of proved to be incredibly expensive to do that, whether it's travel by train or petrol costs. It's just made it more and more difficult as time's gone on. And now that we're all sort of separated across the country, we have our travel costs, we have full-time jobs, most of us, or we're in education. We've got bills to pay, we're living in our own accommodation now, the majority of us. It is really difficult trying to find that time to meet up, but we still do it. So that is still there, it's just very few and far between, because most of us are doing sort of shift work as well. That's another sort of troublesome thing. Trying to marry up all our schedules to find a day that we're all free is incredibly difficult. Some of us have managed to do it here and there a couple of times, but really it's been very sporadic. And that's sort of the main reason why our current EP has taken so long to record. As I mentioned before, we started a few years back, and the majority of our drum recordings were done I think a year or two ago in Stevenage. Now when we got to that period of recording the drums, we thought, right, the drums are all done, the songs are pretty much written, so it's just a case of recording the guitars, the vocals and the bass, which we could always do ourselves, and it's pretty much, you know, we've done the same thing since we did our first EP. We pretty much self-recorded, self-funded everything. You know, mixed, mastered the whole thing ourselves as well. And we thought that was going to be a breeze after we'd done the drums. Now when we actually got down to it, that's where we sort of, that was around the time where we sort of separated off geographically. And we have recorded the majority of the EP already, so the drums, as all of you know, they're pretty much done. There's videos on our channel showing the procedure of us recording drums, and a couple of, you know, videos showing Mike's kit and all the you know, all the different pieces he's got for it and all the upgrades he's made to the kit over the years. You know, there's a couple of videos of Ali recording his guitars. There's a few videos of Jamie recording guitars on Instagram. We didn't manage to record that much of it because it was just myself and Jamie, and obviously I'm on the recording side of things, so I'm, you know, working Logic, Pro Tools, all that, so it is really difficult to try and capture that as we're doing it. Bass, again, that's something that I can easily do at home where I am, so that's not something I've approached yet. That's sort of towards the end of the line. Now, over the last sort of 6 months to a year, Ali and myself have been meeting up, we've been recording the vocals together. We've got one more song to record. We did a couple of songs just last week. So once we've got the, you know, the last sort of vocal recording to do, once that's out of the way, there's not really that much to be done on the recording side of things. It's just bass. Now a couple of punch-ins here and there, just, you know, there's a few bits that just need tightening up, whether it's vocals or guitars or whatever. Now it's just a case of editing it all together, and then once it's, you know, sort of fully formed, we can then look at sort of the mixing process and who we're going to get to mix that, whether we'll mix it ourselves or not. I'm not quite sure yet, that's not something that we've made a decision on. But that's something we'll be looking at down the line. Now I can't say for sure, because we promised before that there would be a particular time period we look at releasing this thing in. I'm not going to commit to that because it just always sort of flies out the window. You know, and it's nice not having to set a release date because there's no pressure to sort of finish it in time. You know, we can take our time, and particularly with this EP, we've spent a lot more time on the production side of things. So we've tried new techniques that we've never tried before. You know, multiple layers of guitars, vocals, that sort of thing, which I think gives it a much more professional sound, much more updated sound as well. Especially in regards to our first EP, which was just sort of like, we need to get it done in this time and then just get it out there. And even though, you know, I hold that EP in quite high regard, you know, I think this new EP is like a completely different level altogether, whether it's the recording, the writing, the whole thing is just, you know, on a completely different scale to the first one. And as I said, we are still recording vocals. I'm hoping to meet up with Ali in a couple of weeks to finish that off. And again, I won't commit to a date, but I'm hoping that we can get this thing out before summer. That is my sort of hope, that's the goal I'm aiming for. And I'm hoping to meet up with the rest of the guys, hopefully later this month or next month, so we can discuss our plans as for the release, you know, whether it's videos, if we're going to play shows or whatever it might be, just sort of work that out schedule-wise, just so we know, you know, how to promote the thing. And we've got quite a lot of ideas about what we'd like to do, but really it's just whether or not we have the time to do that. You know, that's one thing. We'd rather just release the thing as it is with no sort of fanfare if that's what we have to do, rather than, you know, having it completed and just sort of sitting on the shelf for months and months and months and months. So that's, you know, yet to be seen whether or not we'll do that whole, you know, massive promotion thing or not, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of the state of things really. And we've not really played any shows recently because, you know, pretty much every, you know, second of time we've had to spend together, we've done the recording side of things. So there's not really been the opportunity to do it, to be honest. Now once the recording's out of the way, you know, we sort of hand it over to the editing and mixing process. That frees us up any spare time to do the promotion or the touring side of things. So then that's when we can start looking at that side, and hopefully we can play a lot more shows. We've got quite a few ideas of how to elevate our stage show, how to make it a bit more professional, because before it was very rough, very raw, and you can see in our YouTube videos, we can record it fairly professionally, via video, or record the audio from the soundboard, and we can release that whole thing. But even after polishing the whole thing up, there's way more we can do to improve our live show, I think. And I think we've got a lot more to offer people, especially from this EP, in regards to how it would work in a live show. So I'm really looking forward to bringing that to everyone as much as we can. And really that's it, to be honest. That's the sort of state of Suffer No Fools in 2019. We're going to continue to record and document the recording, the editing process of this EP/album. It's sort of getting on to 8-9 songs, so EP or album yet to be decided. We'll see how it goes. We're not quite sure on the format of it just yet. So as we go along, especially on Instagram, we're really into that these days. We're putting a lot of stuff on there, YouTube as well. Facebook's become a lot more difficult to sort of get the word out to our followers, although we still try and do that. But Instagram and YouTube are the two that I, definitely recommend following us on if you want to keep up to date with, the very latest stuff that we're doing. Just the other day we Instagrammed a load of stuff that we recorded together with Ali, so you can sort of start listening to the way the EP is taking shape, and some of the vocal things we're doing, sort of unprocessed, which is pretty interesting to see. Yeah, and that's it really. So keep following us. If you haven't already, subscribed to our YouTube, just subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button as well. If you want to follow everything we're doing and you don't want to be kept out of the loop. Our Instagram handle is just Suffer No Fools, so really simple, easy to follow. And that's it. So hopefully you'll be seeing you in the next couple of weeks with some more updates. Other than that, just stay around and check out the rest of the stuff. Cheers.